Good morning. 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 Or wherever this is finding you. It is if it's not going to be me, I know it's going to be someone in your inner circle or some random stranger or a meme you come across on the internet. But it is the 4th of May, so may the 4th be with you if you are a Star Wars fan. In fact, if you're a Cincinnatian, I think that the Cincinnati Pops just did Star Wars. Have you ever gone to a CSO movie? Oh, they're so cool. Usually once a quarter, CSO will play a movie at Music Hall, something that you, of course, are familiar with. It's nothing new. And then all of the music that would normally be the score of the soundtrack, they play the music live while the movie is going. I've done it multiple times. It's one of my favorite things. Nonetheless, I digress. A happy Monday to you, or wherever this is finding you. Welcome to the This Morning headquarters, live from Mount Adams, Cincinnati, also known as my apartment. I'm in the sound booth this morning. And if it finds you today or in the future, because we have a mix of listeners to This Morning with Tiff Potter, welcome. Welcome. This is a daily companion audio show. If you want a little company when you do the regular human things in your life, you press play. Episodes come out around 8 a.m. every day. And sometimes it's just my voice. And sometimes there's a little video. Today is just audio. I'm in your ears today. How are ya? We have things to get to as far as Cincinnati goes, because this show is rooted in Cincinnati, although it's made for wherever you are. There's something real big happened this weekend, and your legs might be a little sore from it. Shout out to everyone that ran the Flying Pig. We'll chit-chat about that. We'll revisit some celebrity things from this past weekend. Of course, trending news in the Kentucky Derby world, the Miami Grand Prix, fashion's biggest night is tonight, so we'll get prepped up for that. That's on the horizon. I also want to know what type of person you are in regards to, are you someone that fills their gas tank as soon as it goes below half? Or are you pushing that thing to fumes and then filling up? I'll explain why that's important, kind of all on the horizon, and then just give you a well-rounded update about the weekend. And that's, I guess, where we shall start this morning, checking in on you. What's going on in your world? What's your name and what neighborhood are you listening in? Please comment below on whatever platform this is finding you on. The show is live on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple. What's your name? What neighborhood are you listening? And if you feel so inclined, leave me a voice note at the Tiff2Fs, Potter like the wizard on Instagram. We incorporate them into the show as we get them. What's going on in your world? How are you feeling? What's going on this weekend? There are a few people in my inner circle that are not feeling well. I am one of them. And when you're not well, like, there are two types of being sick. There's the I'm sick, I don't really want to do anything, my energy's low, and you use it a little bit more as an excuse, a welcomed excuse. I have no problem with that. And then there's the, oh, shoot, like, I'm not feeling well. And it's different when you're, like, actually sick. And you like go to use that excuse and you're like, no. And it's not even an excuse in a bad way. I don't know if that's giving off a negative connotation. It's not meant for that. But when you're like, I'm actually sick, and am I going to be like this forever? Like, is this my new way of life? And it's that weird balance in the month of April into May of whether or not it's allergies or are you sick? And I've been hanging on to a little bit of a cold myself, and it's affecting my energy. What else, though? How are your legs? We have several listeners of the This Morning community who are also rooted in Cincy that ran some of the Flying Pig this weekend. Congratulations to Allison, who completed the 10K, Jackie Marshall, who completed the half, my friend Tara and her husband and two of their friends completed the relay. I believe AB might have completed the 5K. Sarah Elise completed the 5K. Lots of Cincinnatians. I always say it is one of the best weekends in this city, and that marathon was voted the best marathon in the country. And I do think, as someone that's run it every year, except for this one, that it just is such a well-rounded weekend. So can't wait to hear how it went for you and how you're feeling this morning. And it's what a great way to kickstart spring. I was feeling like I missed out a little bit this year. It wasn't a priority. A lot of things that were once priorities in my life in 2025, not very long ago, are no longer priorities at the moment for me. With job transition the past 6 months, mixed with just who I am as a person and maybe a little touch of ADHD, the things that once felt regular, normal in a rooted routine life didn't fit for me this year. And so running was one of them. It is on my to-do list to get back into, but offering a little grace this morning if you might be feeling the same way. I decided to go camping on Friday. Now, this is a new character trait for me. This is a new personality. Camping and being in the outdoors, one of my new favorite things. I love cooking full-blown meals. We tend to just clean out the entire fridge, and whatever we can cook on a open fire, we'll do it. And they end up being like these intense gourmet meals that I would never make on my own, but having the time, the energy, and the space to do it outside, there's something about it. Putting your feet in the grass. I tend to like to read, paint, sit around, listen to music. Camping's an interesting thing because it takes so much energy to set it all up, make the food, sleep outside, wake up, break it all down. And I know that there are varying types of camping. There's glamping and trailers all the way to just sleeping on the ground. And let me tell you, I'm not a ground sleeper at this stage in my life. I don't mind having a mat underneath me, but I'm not a ground sleeper. So to spin the tale, I went to East Fork Lake this past weekend for one night. This is my second time camping there. And my boyfriend's brother and his girlfriend came. We showed up. Those people were surviving off of hot dogs and in blankets on a raw ground. And I was like, I cannot believe you've survived this far. They had a little tent and a couple of blankets, and they slept on the ground. I said, wow. Girlfriend of the year, by the way. She comes down from Chicago to see him. And he just got out of the Army. And I'm like, okay. Is that what's happening? Your girlfriend is not your Army buddy. She might need like an extra sleeping bag. She's like 5'2" and 100 pounds, sleeping on the ground and eating hot dogs and s'mores. We showed up with, onions to grill, potatoes, steak, surf and turf, if you will, shrimp, all the things, all the fixings, all the accoutrements, tea, coffee, everything. And then we ended up having to give them a few of our blankets because Friday into Saturday got down to like 30 degrees, which was not great for the cold, but awesome for the adventure. So East Fork Lake is not far from Cincinnati, downtown, about, 30-ish minutes if you're looking for somewhere to go. It is in season, and it is where we were camping. There were at least 3 trailers full of horses, which is great for my new horse girl identity. If you haven't had a chance to get caught up on last week's episodes, I did go horseback riding in Lexington last Saturday. And so seeing all of these horses, nothing like going to the bathroom at the crack of dawn at 30 degrees as the sun's coming up and you're shuffling to get out of a tent and wander up to the bathhouse. Nothing like zooming in on a horse eating hay 2 feet from you and you're not expecting it. You're like, oh, damn. So that was quite the adventure. So that was my weekend, a little bit of rest and recovery, planting, right? I'm sure if you're a plant person and you've got a front yard, this is a good weekend for planting, sleeping outside, resting if you're sick, recovering if you did the flying pig. April is my favorite month in the city of Cincinnati. But May is a very close second or third. So we're getting ready to just really start some new habits. I set my alarm for 4:30 a.m. this week. I'm trying to get back in a new routine and habit. And we'll save that episode for another day. All right, speaking of horse girl energy, let's move into some of the bigger things that have come across your feed. A huge congratulations. I'm coming up short on the name. Was it Golden Tempo? Golden Tempo and Jose Ortiz flying home at a 23-1 odd for the Kentucky Derby. Whew! If there is not a life lesson in watching that video, if you haven't seen it yet, I'm sure you will. That's what life is. Put your blinders on and run to the top. Forget everyone else around you. Not in a bad way. I meant in a comparison way. Because Golden Tempo, 23-1 odds. He was in last place, dead last place, and came back and won. That was Jose Ortiz. That was his 11th time racing the Derby. And the bigger story on top of the horse was the trainer, Sherry DeVoe, the very first female horse trainer, horse gal, to win the Kentucky Derby. A big congratulations to her. Her reaction is all over social media. She is the second woman to win a part of the Triple Crown. There was another woman in 2023, another female trainer that won the Belmont Stakes. But you know how this works. I mean, you're a horse girl too, right? Maybe it's new for you. The Kentucky Derby is just the first of the Triple Crown. We've got the Belmont Stakes and the Preakness are all on the horizon. But huge congrats. Very fun. Very cool to watch. I didn't participate in any Flying Pig or any Kentucky Derby things this weekend because I was sleeping on the ground at 30 degrees. I still cannot believe that my brother-in-law's girlfriend, who's 5'2", weighs 100 pounds, was sleeping on pure ground. We were like, here's a couple extra blankets. I actually have a burn on my skin because I fell asleep with a hand warmer touching my body, which probably not supposed to do that, but nonetheless. So congrats to all the horse girlies out there. Second on the list for this weekend, we had mentioned this on Friday that the Miami Grand Prix was this past weekend. If you're not into Formula One, it's shifted to Apple TV. So there's a chance that you don't watch it, but it always draws a lot of celebrities. The first weekend in May is a very big celebrity weekend. If you're not at the Kentucky Derby, the Miami Grand Prix, or the Met Gala, then who are you? And there's a chance that you might see some of the same celebrities at both. Like Alex Earle, I think, was at the Grand Prix, and then she went to Kentucky. So Kim Kardashian did not go to the Grand Prix this weekend. And I was wondering if she was or not, because she's rumored to be dating Lewis Hamilton, who drives for Ferrari. And she did not go. She went to Northwest did a pop-up event in LA. So she had stayed there to support North. And I'm sure you'll see those videos at some point or another. But who won the Grand Prix? Who won Miami? I forgot to look that up. Let's see. Oh, Mercedes. I don't know the name, though. A.K. Antonelli. Lando Norris came in at second. Anyways, so big weekend for that. Big weekend for the Derby. Next big thing on our agenda is the Met Gala. The first Monday in May is fashion's biggest night. And this year's theme is Fashion is Art, encouraging attendees to treat the body as a canvas, aligning with the exhibit's focus on the centrality of the dressed body. You know what? I think I misspoke on that. The Met Gala's theme is costume art, blending visual art and fashion, and then the dress code is fashion is art. I wanted to make sure I got that right. If you didn't know this, the Met Gala was started by Anna Wintour, I believe. And it is a fundraising event that's supposed to raise money for the Met. But of course, if Anna Wintour has her hands on it, it's become fashion's biggest night. And and it's very exclusive too. We don't have very much footage, if any footage really, of anything inside the Met Gala from that night. Usually all the photos we get are from the big giant red carpet up the big stairs of the Met. And then whatever celebrities take illegal photos in the bathroom. But again, this raises a lot of money. Then the Met Museum in New York is free. You can go anytime. And then the exhibit that they change around every year is what they're raising money for. And that's what this year's theme is costume art, which I think is going to lead to some very interesting pieces tonight. We want to look out for Sabrina Carpenter. We want to look out for Zendaya. We want to look out for Rihanna. though, especially those last two, always providing nothing but vibes when they show up. Co-chairs for the year, Beyonce, Nicole Kidman, and Venus Williams. Some honorary chairs, Jeff Bezos, Lauren Sanchez rather. And this will be the first time we see Beyonce at the Met in, I think, like 10 years. It's been a really long time. She's got that iconic, like, see-through look. You remember that one? It was like very see-through, gemmy. She had that big blonde ponytail. That's the last time I remember seeing her. Now, on Friday, we did discuss whether or not Beyonce was going to announce Act 3 of her trilogy that she's been working on with music. You know, Cowboy Carter was Act 2, Renaissance was Act 1. And we said, oh, well, this all align. The internet was mixed on whether or not she was going to announce something, but it turned out that she did not. So who knows? Maybe it will come later on this week. Taylor Swift also put up a countdown on her website last week. Rumors were maybe that she was going to put out some new music. The one that I did see based off of the graphic that made a lot of sense to me was potentially a song for Toy Story 5. And that would be really cute. She'd be a great person to put out the big song for Toy Story 5. We'll see what happens with that one. Okay. Last but not least, as far as big news. Oh, Ariana Grande announced an album as well coming this spring. So keep your eyes out on that. Spirit Airlines. The Dollar General of the Skies just announced that they have immediately shuttered operations. Now, we all have a Spirit Airlines story, I'm sure. Spirit Air was it pioneered budget travel. And regardless of all the jokes, all the memes, all the stories, all the hell that you may have experienced during your Spirit airline journeys and travels, it was iconic. It shaped budget travel. Before Spirit, it was just like the Southwest, the Delta, the United, the Americans of the world. And then after Spirit came Frontier, Allegiant, Breeze, and whatever other airline that I haven't thought of. And, it went down to budget and money. They asked for a bailout. They couldn't get one. Of course, with the cost of fuel and gas prices from Iran, they couldn't manage it. And they just stopped operations, which means 17,000 people are now going without jobs, which is insane. And I'm sending all my love to those experiencing job transition and job loss. I've been there. I am there. I'm sitting there right now. Come on. And I saved a seat for you. You've got a friend in me. But anyone that has a ticket, if you booked it through credit card or debit card, you might have read this by now, they'll automatically refund it to you. But if you booked it through a third party, Godspeed to ya. God, I feel like we could spend an entire morning talking about Spirit airline travel. I don't have any negative stories. I can't remember the last time I've flown Spirit, because it's not really that big here in Cincinnati. We're more a Frontier and Allegiant, and then, of course, Delta and American Airlines. But it's been a long time. But you and I'm sure you can think of at least one flight. Whatever bachelorette you went on in your 20s, I'm sure you took Spirit Airways to get there. Whatever family vacation you were trying to save money on, let's go with the Spirit Airlines flight. I remember seeing in New York a video of a raccoon falling out of the ceiling of like JFK or LaGuardia into the Spirit Airlines terminal, and that was it for me. That sealed the deal as I'm all set. So Dollar General of the Skies, no more. You'll have to let me know. You know what? That's what we'll do. Either comment below or leave me a voice note of your Spirit Airlines adventure. I want to hear from you. Okay, last but not least here, in today's topic of conversation, are you someone that waits to, speaking of gas prices, are you someone that waits to fill their tank until they are on fumes? Or are you, hey, if we dip below half a tank, let's be responsible and fill it up? Because I feel like you're either one or the other. And if you happen to cross the one that you normally don't do, it's because of an emergency. So if you're like a half tanker and you've made it down to fumes, you're like, I'm never doing that again. But if you are someone that's down to fumes and you fill it up at half a tank, you're like, wow, this is what it feels like to be a responsible adult. I'm the fumes person. And the fumes part of me has carried into other sections of my life as well. So, for example, the little Sony recorder that I use here in the This Morning headquarters has been blinking red on battery for weeks now. And I'm at the point where I'm just going to wait until it dies, even if we're in mid-episode. And I have an entire stack of batteries that I could simply just replace right now. Just like you could stop at a gas station on your way home from work today. But what is it about just hanging on until the very, 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 very thread of the last second? Is it busyness? Sure, but I think that's an excuse. Is it procrastination? Is it ADHD? Is it who you are as a person? Sure. But we all have that thing that we wait until very last minute on. Was it your taxes? Have you still not filed? What is that one thing that you are hanging on for dear life to the very end when you know you should just really do it? Maybe that's the theme of today's episode. Let's all agree to just walk towards the one thing that we should do that we've been avoiding. And for me, that's replacing the Sony battery. All right, what a good place to leave it for today. Tomorrow is Hot Topic Tuesday. These episodes come out around 8 a.m. every day. I'm going to talk about slowing down to the speed of joy. If you're someone that is chronically busy, there's a quote in this book I'm reading that you might sit with. So come right back here tomorrow morning. If anything I said resonated with you, today might be the day that you like and subscribe and become an official part of the This Morning community. You don't have to. I mean, I would love to have you. Or if I said something that made you giggle, you might want to send it off to a friend. I appreciate you for stopping by. Thanks so much for inviting me into your life, to your morning, and to the places that you love. I hope you have a great day. I'll see you tomorrow.